Okay, well, I had this lens, this camera, and metabones adapter on borrow for a little over 2 weeks, and of course I got my FUJI X-T10 in, and I got my metabones F mount to FUJI X mount, which is $99 in, same as one I had. A lot of the questions related to the adaptation of my Nikkor lenses to my Fuji was about the metabones adapter itself. You know, what is it? How bad is it? You know, I checked for light leaks. I could absolutely find no light leaks at all using a high intensity light. There are no lens elements inside this one or I have a Nikkor G to Fuji X mount on the way, which is $139. It lets you use non-aperture bladed Nikkor G series lenses with Fuji, so there's an aperture dial on the metabones adapter itself, which is why it's $40 more. But you know, I always Nikon came out with the DF, which is actually a well-built camera, but it's obnoxiously huge and it's over-designed, and it's not what Nikon enthusiasts ask for. I mean, people that dearly love Nikon, and of course I am. I mean, I'm keeping all my Nikon gear, so don't anybody accuse me of switching sides or something like that. I mean, I don't want to hear that sort of nonsense. You know, this is my motorcycle platform to my cars. My cars, my Nikon DSLRs are certainly not going anywhere, but I wanted something that was not a miserable, even if it's the top quality in the world, like admittedly, the Sony DSC RX100 Mark III, you know, but it's still just a miserable point-and-shoot POS. And I wanted something that was a motorcycle to supplement my cars, and this is it. And it's a tiny little sucker, and this is exactly what all the Nikon enthusiasts wanted. And of course, it's certainly built a whole lot better than the phony equivalent is. It's a 16 megapixel sensor. It's APS-C, obviously so. The Nikon D4S, which is over $6,000, is also a 16 megapixel. Obviously, that's a full frame, and it has a tremendous buffer, but you know, it's actually not made any sturdier. The current Nikon high-end cameras like the D810, which I have 2 of, and the Nikon D4S, you know, the really tough cameras aren't being made anymore. The high-end ones, that with the D4S, you know, it's still made in Japan, but you know, the really tough, like Nikon D3 hammer nails with it sort of cameras are not going to be made anymore. Most people are wusses and they don't want to pack a real heavy camera. The FUJI X-T10 is extremely lightweight. It has top-bottom magnesium chassis on top and bottom plate. But this is exactly everything the Nikon enthusiasts wanted, and this is exactly why I bought this thing and why I got rid of my phony point-and-shoot. You know, the phony point-and-shoot was nice, but it was a point-and-shoot. It was a DSC RX100 Mark III. I was happy with it, but it had focus issues, and you know, the images were sufficient, and yeah, it was a 24 megapixel sensor camera, but it was still a POS. I mean, it's just a POS. And it's not what I wanted. You know, I've got other little point-and-shoots, but I wanted something that served this purpose, and Nikon didn't make it. The metabones adapter, by the way, has metal mounts front and rear, and it's a chromium-plated brass. Even the NovoFlex, which is odd to me, it's $240, is exactly the same thing as this, but it has a plastic. I think it's on the lens side, the adapter, or it could be on the body side. Yeah, it's on the Fuji X mount side. It's plastic adapter, which is ridiculous. You know, I've got currently a Carl Zeiss 35mm f2 disc going on this. The pictures are absolutely amazing. There are no elements inside the metabones, none whatsoever. You can see directly to and stick your finger in, not that you would want to, and let me unlock here and touch the sensor. You can see it right back in there. Let me move my light a little bit. But this is what the Nikon enthusiasts were wanting. They're wanting something like this, and this is what I wanted out of Nikon. Of course, it does have a mechanical shutter and or use of electronic shutter. Is extremely simple, and with this adapter, you know, I've got nearly 120 Nikkor lenses, somewhere around there, and with this adapter I can stick, you know, all my awesome glass on there. Even though this metabones adapter is made in China, I can tell you in no uncertain terms, having had thousands of lenses pass through my hands and owning, you know, more lenses than anybody else you'll ever meet, that this adapter is made incredibly well. I mean, I'm the first person to hate cheap crap made in China. Hate it! But the quality on this is exceptional. I mean, it really, really is. There's absolutely nothing for me to fault this on. There's no light leaks. The inside matte black finish is absolutely exquisite and perfect. You know, if Nikon came out with something like this, I mean, you would not confuse this for a high-end mount adapter at all. So the notion that this is inferior anyway, I mean, I'm the first person to fault anything, and there's absolutely nothing to fault in this metabones adapter. I can't remember exactly how many ounces it weighs, but with this, of course, whether it's any Nikkor lens, you have to use it in aperture priority or in all manual mode. The great thing about this is that since I already have a mountain of Nikon glass, that I don't want to do it, but if someone else had this camera and this adapter, and you know they wanted to save a few bucks, which, and I'm all about saving money, not just blowing money and pissing it away unnecessarily, is that the non-AI Nikkor lenses, which are not going to mount on any current Nikon, they will mount with this metabones adapter. So you can use the Nikkor Q, you know, the non-AI Nikkor lenses, which by the way are insanely expensive. They are incredibly well built, and they're very, very damn cheap. Most of them you can snag for between 25 and 30 bucks. The reason being is that nobody's really got a Nikon camera to mount them. You know, you have to pay $40 to convert them to AI to throw them on your current Nikon DSLR. But if you have this $100 metabones adapter for your Fuji, then for $200 that will get you, even that's too much. For $100 that'll get you 4 awesome lenses. They would be primes, I mean, or zoom, a non-AI. Yeah, $150 will get you 6 awesome lenses. $150 will get you 6 awesome lenses. I mean, that sounds absolutely absurd and ridiculous, but if you have a metabones adapter like this, like I have, I don't need it because I've already got so many damn lenses already. But if someone just to buy this body and this adapter, then they could really go on the cheap for some awesome glass. And I'm all about saving money, so I'm really not going to be buying Fuji glass. If anybody's asking me about Fuji glass, I mean, I got the kit lens for $100. I didn't give a damn. I mean, I knew it was a rather cheap lens, but I mean, it's actually high performance. I mean, I actually love the output on it, even though it does have a plastic mount that mounts on to the Fuji body. But you know, it's for $100. I didn't give a damn. I figured, why the hell not? Since it was a package deal, so I got it. But I bought this Fuji for one purpose only, and then I've got a mountain of Nikkor glass that I'm going to use it on, and this is exactly what the Nikon enthusiasts wanted. This is what the DF should have been, but never was. DF, the Nikon DF, which I don't know if stands for dumb fook or you get my point, right? Nikon really screwed the pooch on that one, and they did not listen to their users. And their users wanted a tiny, tiny little sucker like this that was a very small, thin form factor sucker that they could throw their Nikkor lenses on. And this is exactly what I got out of the FUJI X-T10. Same sensor, same processor as the $1,400 X-T10 Fujifilm. So, you know, for half the money I'm getting the same processor, the exact same sensor, and there are a few other pluses I'll actually cover in another video. So anyway, it's an exquisite little camera, and by the way, more than a few people asked me about the metabones adapter, and the answer is that yes, it's absolutely exquisite quality. It's something that I would expect out of Nikon, and amazingly enough, it comes out of China. Chromium plated brass, you can't ask for better. The build quality, there's nothing about it where you squeeze it, it feels like you're squeezing a Tinker toy or a child's squeeze toy. You know, I can't stand cheesy plastic crap from China. Just can't stand it, and this metabones adapter is not that in any way, shape, or form. So I'd be the first person to fault that. So anyway, I'm going to start the introductions, and I just got done doing a video on what focus peaking looks like in its various modalities out of this camera using my Nikkor and Nikkor mount lenses, so like I have here, which is, and this, by the way, one thing I wanted to mention is that if Nikon, I mean if Zeiss or Leica were to produce an awesome camera, this is exactly what it would look like. I mean, this literally is to me, there we go, I was at a odd position there. This is exactly what Zeiss would produce Or to me, this is just like a like. I mean, you got the best glass in the world on the front of it, sitting on top of a 16 megapixel Fuji. You know, it's not replacing any of my Nikon DSLRs, so I'm not going to be accused of that nonsense. But this to me is exquisite. The output's exquisite. The form factor is exquisite. I should have brought in a Voigtlander. Obviously, with a little Voigtlander, the total length of the unit would be about yay big. This, and by the way, Voigtlanders are exactly 100% the same identical quality as the Zeiss. They're both made the same spot in Japan. Some of the Zeisses are, of course, made in Germany, but this is made in Japan. Cosina Voigtlander. Cosina's outsourcing the same exact finish, the same exact quality on manual focus. You know, obviously you can only use, this is a manual focus lens no matter what you throw it on. Metabones adapter, or throw it on a Nikon D4S or D810 is manual focus regardless. But this, to me, defines exactly what I used to mess with, were old film Leicas and, you know, really expensive lenses. And this is really on the cheap. This is absolute highest quality package, to me, of perfection on the cheap, a little small package. I'm not saying it's any replacement for any of my Nikon. My Nikon stuff isn't going anywhere, but this is what I wanted. This is what Nikon enthusiasts wanted. And if Zeiss were to put out a little tiny mirrorless camera to go along with some of their classic lenses, to me this is exactly what it would look like, except it's got Fuji's name on it. The lens and the camera, to me, are identical quality. It's a perfect form factor. And I should have brought out a Voigtlander to toss in the front of this, and maybe I will in the next video. Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know if you got any questions. And there's absolutely nothing I'm unhappy with about this camera, except for one thing, and that's really not a biggie, is that I cannot reprogram some of my buttons over here to for image playback. I actually have to go over here. On Nikon, you can actually reprogram your buttons for playback. Instead, I have to go over here every time. So that's something that I don't particularly like, but it's no big deal. So anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you later.